Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
Kenzie's Krimes.
Milwaukee police found body parts in a North Side apartment.
Not because I was angry with them, not because I hated them, but because I wanted to keep them with me.
Believe me, if I started murdering people, there'd be none of you left.
This is evil, what those people have done to me.
C says Heaven's Gate awaitee.
I'm not guilty.
Q101.
It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101 with another edition of Kenzie's Krimes, a deep dive into a local murder mystery drama. And myself and Case, listen to Kenzie lead this as we have no idea what crime she's going to talk about. So we're all sitting here together around the campfire as Kenzie tells this story.
We are going to Case's home state, Indiana, for this Kenzie's Krimes. So 17-year-old Valerie Tindall lived in Arlington, Indiana, which is a small town with a population of 658 people. So definitely a tiny town. She was a student at Rushville Consolidated High School in Indiana. She was super fun loving, had a really infectious smile, loved video games, spending time with her family and friends, but I would say her biggest love was animals, and apparently it was her goal to become a veterinarian as she was growing up. Their neighbor, Patrick Scott, he was married with children, and he owned a lawn care company in Maplewood. The neighbors became so close that Patrick actually offered, at the time, 15-year-old Valerie a job at this company, which would really be like her first job. It seemed like a really great opportunity, and Patrick truly became Valerie's mentor. So on Wednesday, June 7th, 2023, Valerie let her family know she had to work. Her mother, Sheena, thought this was a little bit unusual. Her daughter usually didn't work on Wednesdays, and she kind of assumed that maybe her daughter was actually going to hang out with some friends or a boy she didn't know about. She's like, kept a little side eye on it. And she checked in with her neighbor / daughter's boss, Patrick, a little while kind of after her shift would have started, like after that midday point. And Patrick shared that Valerie actually didn't show up for work that day. Sheena really kind of started to panic because her daughter wasn't home. She said she was going to be at work, never went, and she was trying to pinpoint where her daughter was. Now, during this time, Patrick seemed to be a little bit shifty on his story. She was kind of having a hard time pinpointing, like, well, did you contact her? Did you do that? Like, couldn't get him to, like, hold down what he was saying. Then a detail finally emerged that shocked Sheena, which is Valerie's mother once again. A client of Patrick said that he overheard Valerie and Patrick had a lunch meeting scheduled for this same day. So Sheena decided to contact the police. So Patrick was immediately a person of interest in the case. However, because of his landscaping business, officers needed to submit and be approved for over 50 search warrants to tons of remote land that Patrick had access to. A super aggressive project that they had to tackle. For the next 5 months, Sheena and Jack being Valerie's father, had to endure pain that I know that I would never wish on anyone, as their daughter's 18th birthday passed and they wondered where she was and what had happened.
Wow.
And I'm going to pause right there because we are going to start digging in to what is on Patrick's properties when these search warrants get approved.
Well, all that coming back with part 2 and the conclusion of Kenzie's Krimes here with Brian and Kenzie on Q101 in about 3 minutes.
Brian and Kenzie
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101 with the conclusion of Kenzie's Krimes today, where Kenzie has laid a big cliffhanger there, and I guess the payoff is right now.
Valerie Tindall was 17 years old. She lived in Arlington, Indiana, super small town, and her parents were friends with her neighbor, Patrick, who owned his own landscaping business, and Valerie actually worked for it. Now, she was supposed to go to work, but ended up missing, and Patrick was one of the people of interest. They had to get over 50 different warrants to search all of his landscaping business areas. He had access to all this remote land. She was missing for about 5 months. Now, during these extensive searches of Patrick's property, cadaver dogs signified they smelled human remains in a pond. It seemed like that's what they were signifying to, near Patrick's home. Now, because of this, police decided to do an aerial survey of Patrick's properties, and they found multiple spots of quote unquote disturbed ground, so they could kind of tell that there was like digging and stuff there that had been excavated. They decided to narrow in on those spots. So on November 8th, 2023, nearly 6 months after Valerie went missing, law enforcement found Valerie buried in a wood coffin in Patrick's backyard.
Oh, God.
Now, one of the reasons they were able to so quickly identify the body was because the body and, what was left of it had orange nail polish on the fingertips, which can be seen in the last photo posted of Valerie the day she went missing. She had orange nail polish they saw in the video. Patrick was immediately arrested and taken in for questioning.
What happened to Valerie?
Valerie got carried away.
Just lay it out to me. Lay it out to me. What happened to her?
She tried to blackmail me into buying her a car. She thought she was going to seduce me and it wasn't going to happen. Things just got carried away.
What'd you do to her?
What'd I do to her?
What'd you do to her? Tell us what you did to her.
Strangled her.
On the day Valerie disappeared, they found out she was at Patrick Scott's home across the street from her own house. A huge argument broke out, and during that rage, Patrick strangled Valerie with his own belt that he was wearing. He wrapped her in black plastic and left her body in his home office, while he then continued on his evening with his own family.
Good Lord.
The next day, he constructed a wooden box, placed her body in it, screwed it shut, and buried it in his backyard. He claimed the reasoning to be that she tried to seduce and blackmail him for a car. Patrick Scott agreed to a plea deal with a 57-year prison sentence. Although she's never been prosecuted, Valerie's parents believe Linda, Patrick's wife, knew about everything, and they wish that she today was also behind bars. There has been a GoFundMe created for Valerie Tindall's family, initially for the funeral costs, but people to this day have still contributed and donated to the family, and that is up now. I think it's really important that even though you feel like you know someone really well, know where your children are, always have your senses up and always have your guard up when it comes to family members, because evil can be right in front of you without you realizing it.
Kenzie's Crimes.
Milwaukee police found body parts in a North Side apartment.